Or they try to.
Welcome back to this segment of the Pittsburgh Business Virgin. We're here with one of our experts, Ron Meledandri. He's of Centra Business Solutions. He's going to continue telling us how he left the mortgage industry and then got in heavy with the Centra Business Solutions.
Okay, well, as I was saying, I sold the mortgage company and decided to go back into consulting. I've always enjoyed consulting because I get just as excited about other people's businesses as I do about my own. So I started working with various types of small businesses and helping them in a number of different ways. I try to focus on three main areas when it comes to consulting. The first area is what I call information analysis. Most businesses, I don't think, generate the information that they should generate and analyze it properly to know where their business is going. You can't make good decisions unless you have good information. Mm-hmm. It would be kind of like me asking you to call plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers without knowing what the score of the game was, what yard line they were on, or how much time was on the clock.
Or what team they were playing. Yeah.
You'd say that's absolutely impossible. I can't call a good play without having that information. And the same thing is true in business. There's too many business owners out there today that are trying to make decisions without having good information. So one of the things that I focus on with my consulting work is trying to get their businesses to generate the information they need to make good decisions.
I guess one question I have for you is, I mean, ideally people should probably engage you in your services before they have problems. That would be ideal to sort of have a business coach. But when probably a majority of your business is when people have gotten sort of to a sticking point, what we used to always call a restriction.
Yeah, they hit a plateau in their business. It's flat. It's not going anywhere.
What do you see being the most common reasons for that, other than they're not making decisions with the right information? Which, I mean, is huge. I mean, I don't want to discount that point because that's considerable.
I think a lot of the people get into business without taking the proper first steps. For an example, let's suppose you wanted to perform with the Pittsburgh Symphony and you wanted to play violin. You went out and bought the best violin you could find. You bring it home, you open up the case, you take out the violin, then what? You're stuck. You can't read music. Yep. You don't know how to play the violin. But people do that with businesses all the time. They go out and they start their business, and they have no idea what it takes to run a business. They don't know about labor laws. They don't know about payroll taxes. They don't know how to read a P&L statement. They don't know how to read a balance sheet. But off they go, and they start working on their business, and they're out there for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and all of a sudden they realize they don't know where they're going.
They're in over their head.
That's right, exactly. And then that's when my phone rings.
Ron, what do you think is a fair startup time? If I say I'm going to go and open up a hoagie stand on the corner, and you're talking about all these things that I need to be aware of, how long? What's a reasonable time frame on that?
A reasonable time frame before you open up?
Before you open up and before you even buy your building.
It's hard to say depending on the type of business. I mean, if you're talking about a hoagie stand, it might be, I'd like to work with you for 3 months before you open up. If you're talking about a more complicated manufacturing business, I might want to say we need to talk for months.
But isn't the point of this conversation that you don't, if you're smart enough to surround yourself with the right people, you don't necessarily have to become an expert in all those areas.
Oh, no. I'm not professing that you become an expert, but I'm professing that you at least know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So many people go into business not knowing what they don't know. They don't know that they need an insurance expert to help them in that area. They don't know that they should have a good CPA that help them set up the financial controls they need and the financial systems before they start. They don't know that they should have a good attorney to help them get incorporated properly or set up their LLC properly or whatever. They think, I'll just go online, I'll get a few forms, and I'm off and running.
Yeah. All right, we're going to come right back with Ron and talk about sort of the more of the do's, but also some of the do's and don'ts around the business, but also you were mentioning earlier you were a big part of your career is around marketing. We want to sort of touch on some of the things that you suggest as far as marketing and growth of a company. So come right back with Ron Meledandri Meledandri. I'm nailing it with Century Business Solutions Consulting, and we'll be right back.
Or they try to.
Alrighty, we're back with Ron Meledandri of Century Business Solutions. Ron, you have a vast experience on the marketing side. What I found is, marketing is huge when you're starting up a business, when you're moving to an area, making changes. Tell us some of your thoughts around marketing and how important it is to the small business.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that small businesses make when it comes to marketing is that they don't realize that everything they do, I always tell my clients, everything that a customer sees, hears, feels, tastes, and smells about your business is marketing. Marketing is, do you return your phone calls on time? Marketing is, if you have service trucks, are they nice, clean, neat? And when I come into your place of business, is it well lit? Is your office organized? Do I get a good feeling that you are under control? Marketing is how fast the receptionist looks up and says, "Can I help you, sir?" And I think businesses tend to focus so much on the advertising part of marketing that they forget that it's all the interaction that goes on between you and your customers or your potential customers or your referral sources.
Because in essence, it's word of mouth is free marketing. So when I have a good experience, I'm going to tell Brad, "Hey, I had a great experience."
Absolutely,
and it builds that way.
Absolutely, and if you call me and I don't return your call for 3 days, that's marketing. That's not a good marketing experience. I've just given you a bad impression of my company. Or if I leave a message on your voicemail and I speak so quickly that you can't even understand my phone number, which happens frequently, that's bad marketing. You have to make it easy for the customer to do business with you. And I look at all of those things as part of marketing. What image are you projecting about your business?
But it's the little things.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's all those little things add up. I mean, I think to your point, people spend a ton of money and brainstorm building this marketing machine when in reality, you can spend all the money and do all those things. But to your point, meanwhile, at the front end, if you're doing that, but the guys on the back end aren't returning, their clients' phone calls, it's going to be all for naught.
There's no question about it. No question about it.
Okay.
I'll give you a great example. I pulled up at a stoplight one day, and I look at the truck next to me, and it's a painting company. And the truck is full of dents, it's rusted, and it's dirty. And my thought is, do I want that guy to come into my house to paint my house? That truck image is part of his marketing.
Because
he can run
all you pictures the paint spills and
sure. He can run all the greatest ads in
the
the world in the newspaper, but when I see that truck and I see the condition of that, I don't want him in my house.
I told you to clean your car, Brian. I don't know how many times I have to tell you to clean your car. No, but it's a good point. It's simple little things. People are probably watching, going, "Duh," but then I'm listening to you say this, and I'm thinking about, okay, when the phone rings, how quickly am I returning emails? It's the little things that matter. Okay, good. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about sort of the learning curve and teachable moments with Ron and talk about some of the mistakes that you see business owners making and where they can make the biggest impact on their business. Once again, we're here with Ron Meledandri, and it's Centra Business Solutions. He's a business consultant and one hell of a good consultant. So if you need someone to look at your business, don't be shy. Get a hold of him at 412-841-5255. And my guess is he'll return your phone call fairly quickly because it's good advertising, right? We'll be right back with our next segment.
or they try to
Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Business Virgin. We are here with one of our experts, Ron Meledandri of Century Business Solutions. Ron's gone over a lot of different mistakes, different challenges in the marketing and the general business setup. But Ron, for that business version that's starting out, what are the three areas that you see that they're making their biggest mistakes in?
One of the most common I see is they try to be all things to all people. You can't be everything. You're going to be either the high price guy or the low price guy. You're going to either be the fast guy or the slow, meticulous guy. But you can't be everything to everyone. You can't say I'm gonna sell you the cheapest product out there and give you the best price, and I'm also the highest quality. People aren't going to believe that. You have to pick something. I am a firm believer in finding a niche and dominating that niche. If I say chocolate, you're going to say Hershey's. You don't think of Hershey's and chewing gum, you think of Hershey's and chocolate. You think of Planters and peanuts. Those two just go together. And that's what you want to do when you have a business. You want to find a niche, and when people mention your niche, when people mention your product or your service, they're going to automatically think about your business. But that's mistake, I think, number one that a lot of people go through. I think mistake number two is the lack of anticipation. They don't try to anticipate what's coming down the road tomorrow. Now, as I said before, I'm all in favor of analyzing the past, taking that information and analyzing it. But you have to think about the future. You have to think about what's coming down the road. And I tell my clients constantly, we're in a slow period right now. We're coming out of a recession. Are you prepared for the boom? You don't have to be an economist to look back at the economy over the last 40, 50 years and see that we go through cycles.
And by the way, if you do, you're going to win. I think the biggest problem that we have right now is everybody's so, I don't want to say miserable, but so melancholy about everything that they're to your point, they're looking backwards constantly. They're looking in the rearview mirror versus what's out in front of the, over the top of the hood.
Well, I think one of the greatest lines I read once was Wayne Gretzky when he was asked why he was so good. He said,
great quote.
He says, I don't skate to where the puck is, I skate to where the puck's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do in business. You have to think about, am I ready for when the boom comes? Am I ready for when the recession comes? Am I anticipating what's coming down the door and through the door? And I don't think most people do that. And I think the third thing, and it's one of my brother's favorite quotes, is if you don't know why you're making money when you're profitable, you're never going to understand why you're losing money when you're not profitable.
So geared towards more of the experienced business owner versus starting out.
Well, both. A lot of new businesses start out and they start off doing very well, and they think, "Wow, I'm a great business person. Yeah. I'm an expert. Look how well I'm doing."
See, I told you.
I've been in business. I've been in business 4 months, and I'm making money. Well, that's because their uncle and their cousin and their neighbor and everybody's buying from them. Yeah. When that wears off, and they have to depend on real customers, they're in trouble.
Yeah,
they're in a huge amount of trouble. Real quick story. When I was in college, I had a band. Back in those days, everybody had live music. Local community, a guy bought a hotel, had a lounge. He hired my band to play there every Saturday night so he could build up his business. Well, guess who were all the customers when he hired my band? It was all my friends and relatives, my old high school band director, the drummer's parents, the bass player's sister. We filled the place. He didn't understand that those people were there because they knew us. They were friends of us, friends of ours. So after 6 months when my contract ended, he says, "I don't need the band anymore. The business is all built up. I'll save the money on the band." So when we went away, guess what happened? His business went away.
Know why people do business with you. You got to know why people.
You have to know that.
You got to know why people do business with you. It's so important. And what's the best way for if a business owner is out there, especially one that's established and is watching this? What's the best way for them to sort of get that information? Is it annual surveys to client? I mean, what do you recommend?
I'm a firm believer in building up relationships with your clients, with your customers. Yep. I don't care what kind of business you have. I don't care if you have a retail store. I don't care if you have an insurance agent. You have to build up relationships with your customers. You have to talk to your customers. You have to understand what they want. I think if you've ever seen In Search of Excellence, Stu Leonard did a great job with his grocery store in having lunches with his customers. What do you want? What do you like about my business? What don't you like about my business? What keeps you coming here?
That's awesome.
And you have to do that.
All right. Great stuff. We're going to come right back with Ron to talk about sort of what his recipe for success is for a business owner. Once again, we're with Ron Meledandri of Centra Business Solutions. He's a great consultant. Definitely check out your blog, Ron, is what? The Business Advisor?
Businessadvisor.biz.
And how often do you write? Do you write daily?
I usually put a new posting on once a month about a various topic.
Awesome. So that's something that they can people can tie into. Once again, www.thebusinessadvisor.biz. B-I-Z. All right, good stuff. We're going to come right back with Ron to talk about his recipe for success. Thanks, Ron.
Or they try to.
We're here with Ron Meledandri of Centra Business Solutions. Ron, as a business consultant, what are the ingredients for a successful business recipe in your viewpoint?
The first, I think, is to always be hungry. You can never be satisfied. The minute that you become complacent, the minute that you think, boy, I'm on top now, my business is where I want it to be, is when you're going to start to find yourself in trouble.
You're either growing or dying.
You
right?
always have to keep going. I learned many years ago that you're always going to lose about 5% of your customers every year through no fault of your own. So you have to grow to just stay where you are. And if you want to really expand, you have to go after business constantly. You can't sit back and relax. You're always looking, always hungry, never satisfied. I think that's ingredient number one. Number two is you have to focus on results. Too many businesses today focus on the process, how we do things. How is important, I'm not trying to belittle that, but the main thing is, what are my results? You know, on October 13th, we had the 50th anniversary of the 1960 World Series. If you look at that World Series, the Yankees scored more runs, they had more hits, and they had more home runs. But the Pirates won the World Series. That's what the important thing is. And as a business, too many businesses focus on their procedures and the way they're doing things. And hey, what's the end result? I got to make a sale. I got to keep the customer happy. I got to do what the customer wants. I got to keep that customer coming back. And that's the important thing. And I think if you always remain hungry, and I think if you totally focus on results and not the process, you're going to be okay in business in the long run.
Awesome stuff, Ron. Thank you so much for being a part of the Pittsburgh Business Virgin today. And check out the rest of the segments with Ron, once again, of Centra Business Solutions. Give him a call, 412-841-5255. He also has a very interesting blog where he puts up articles monthly at the www.thebusinessadvisor.biz, B-I-Z. Ron, thank you so much for being here, being a part of the show. And
thank you. I enjoyed it.
And I know people are going to learn a lot if they watch the segments. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.